What is going on, everybody, and welcome to today's video. My name is Abel Hernandez and I am here with STL Tones, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through the all-new update for the ToneHub plugin. Now, if you're just finding out about this, feel free to head on over to stltones.com and download the update. But without further ado, let's jump right into this. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started on one of the biggest updates, and that's going to be to the reverb pedal in your effects section. Now, if you look at the center of it, you now have the option between a plate reverb and the new added hall reverb. The quickest explanation I can give you of the difference between the two is a plate reverb is essentially the vibrations being pushed through a sheet of suspended metal, and the hall reverb is the sound of vibrations being pushed through empty space or air. Basically, think of a large empty theater venue or a large empty cathedral. Here's a quick example of the difference between those two styles of reverb. Now, in addition to that, you no longer have a mix knob here on the left-hand side. You now have a wet and dry knob. Now, in the previous version, you had a mix knob, and what that basically did was it took your dry or unaffected signal and held it at 50%, and it moved your wet signal from 0 to 100% around that. You now have those two separately, and you can move your dry signal independent from the wet signal. An example of the way that you would use this is if you're trying to create like a spacey ambient type of a vibe by plucking big chords, but you don't want to hear the sound of your fingers plucking the strings, you can turn that dry signal all the way down, and you're only going to hear the affected tone that comes out right after the pluck, but not the pluck itself. Also, if you're trying to get like an eerie droning type of a vibe, and you're trying to do that by alternate picking single notes, but you don't want to hear that pick attack from the alternate picking, again, you can turn that dry signal all the way down, and you're only going to hear the affected droning. Of course, those are just two examples of how you can use that, but the overall goal here is to give the user as much control as humanly possible over the final tone. Now, moving on from that, you now have an update to your global input knob. Now, before you could only turn that up to a plus 6 dB. You can now push that all the way up to a plus 24 dB. Just gives you the option of pushing that input a little bit harder and creating some unique tones if that's what you're looking for, especially if you're working with like a preset pack from John Daly of Northlane, where he likes to use low gain tones, but he does like to push that input particularly hard. Now, I just quickly want to note that when this plugin was released, there was a known issue where users using it in a session above 48 kilohertz were experiencing significant deterioration in their tone. That has been fixed, and you can now turn that up between a 48 to a maximum of 96 kilohertz. Now, we're going to move on to two more subtle changes, but these are changes that are going to affect your overall efficiency and workflow. The first one being when you are here in your presets, you can now use your keyboard to navigate up and down through the different presets and go ahead and push enter to activate any given preset. Now, moving over here to your equalizer module, instead of simply turning the knobs to find the frequency that you're looking for, if you know exactly where you're trying to land, you can now right click onto any given knob and input the numerical value in this box that you're going to be prompted with. Now, if you already know what frequency you're looking for, this is going to be a much faster and more efficient way to set your EQ. Again, just a couple of subtle changes that are definitely going to improve your overall workflow and efficiency. So those are all the updates that have been made to the plugin thus far. So like I said, if you haven't already, head on over to STL Tones and download the update if you are an STL ToneHub user. But before I let you guys go, I just want to cover a couple of quick points. Number one is that if you haven't seen already, STL Tones released a free preset pack for the ToneHub called Sky Dreams. So if you're looking for those really cool spacey ambient types of tones, there's a bunch of really cool presets that you're going to find in there. It's also going to be an awesome way for you to start experimenting with that new update to the reverb pedal. Secondly, STL Tones has just released a new preset pack for heavy metal producer Mark Lewis. Now, of course, Mark Lewis has worked with bands like August Burns Red, Chimera, Trivium, The Black Dahlia Murder, the list goes on and on. So if you are looking for those types of high gain, brutal tones, and you're ready to unleash that beast, head on over to STL Tones and get your copy of that preset pack. That's pretty much gonna wrap it up for me here. If you guys found this video helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button for us. We appreciate it. Thank you guys for joining me. I will catch you guys on the next video.